Good evening. I'll start tonight's off the cuff, a little scenery from nearby where I live. You're not going to see much of my face tonight because there's some information I want to have up on the screen. Back when Governor Cuomo forced his budget through the legislature through an emergency session, the Board of Regents had an opportunity back then to vote on whether to accept his proposals for his new proposals for teacher evaluations regarding testing. His new proposals would make the New York State assessment test worth 50% of a teacher's evaluation score. In actuality, though, it could count for more than 50%, because if a teacher were to have a group of students who performed poorly on just that one test, and out of that test the teacher was ineffective on the test itself, that in and of itself would override any other observation or evaluation tool that the teacher had. So in essence, Governor Cuomo has almost made the test worth the teacher's entire evaluation. And as we all know, these tests are being used in a manner that they shouldn't be used in anyway, because they were never made to measure student growth. They were never made to measure teacher effectiveness. They're being used in ways they're not intended, which really means they're being misused. And they're a tool for the governor to push forward his own agenda to privatize public education due to the people he's beholden to that have filled his coffers and his pockets. Now, because it was an emergency vote back when the budget happened, the regents have 90 days to revisit and then sit down after having time to think it over and re-vote. Well, that 90-day period is now up, and the New York State Regents will be voting on September 16th. That's why it's imperative you share this information with everyone who is dissatisfied with what Governor Cuomo has pushed and forced upon us. On September 16th, the Regents get to sit down and vote again. And this vote will have historic ramifications for New York State and public education in our state, which means it's going to have historic ramifications for our children. On that day, the Regents are going to vote as to whether Governor Cuomo's proposal is going to become permanent or not. A yes vote means they're in favor of it. A no vote means they are not in favor of the governor's proposals. So I'm going to turn the camera off me and onto the information I want you to see, because this is very important. So as you can see, there's a chart, and I'm going to come back to it and pan back to it so you can get where you need to get. But I'm going to go in on this first part of it. Everyone on the table are the regents that voted yes in support of Governor Cuomo's proposals. Everyone in the table, and that's Regent Tisch, Wade Norwood, Lester Young, James Cottrell, Anthony Botar, Roger Tillis, James Talon, Charles Bendit, Christine Sia, Andrew Brown, and Victoria Josephine Finn. Now down in blue were the regents that voted against Governor's proposal. They voted no. And that was Kathleen Cashin, Judith Chin, Catherine Collins, Judith Johnson, Beverly Alderkirk, and Betty Rosa. I'd like you to contact them also and tell them thank you, and tell them to hold true to their vote of no against Governor Cuomo. So, what I'd like you to do is call all of the at-large regents. Call them and email them. I apologize for any flickering, because this is on my computer screen right now, so it flickers a bit. Oops, apologies. We're just going to keep on recording because we don't have time to mess around. So we have Regent Tisch as an at-large, Regent Norwood is an at-large, Regent Young and Regent Cottrell are all at-large regencies. And you can see on the chart, there's their email addresses, there are their phone numbers. I would like you to email all the at-large people, the 4 of them, and also call them and be very clear that you do not want them to support the governor's proposals. They are to vote no, and they are to listen to you, because you're the parents and we're the educators, and there are children there are children, and these people now are the ones that have to stop Governor Cuomo from destroying what's going on. So let me move this over a little bit, because that's the phone number over there. Thank you. Now also, if you look closer here, I have the regions that they represent. So once the at-larges are done, if you live in Herkimer, Jefferson, Lewis, Oneida, Onondaga, or Oswego, you'll also contact Anthony Botar. And the same thing, Roger Tillis is down in Nassau and Suffolk County. I'll come back to him in a moment. Over here we have the others. If you live in Broome, Chemung, Shenango, Cortland, Delaware, Otsego, Schuyler, Tioga, or Tompkins County, then you should be contacting Regent Talon. And there's his name and phone number. And I'll come back to both of these charts at the end so you can figure out who you should call. Regent Tillis is very interesting because he, since 2011, has come out and said that these formula is wrong, the testing is wrong. And if you ask him, even a week ago, he was asked, do you agree that the proposals are right? And he said, no, they're wrong. But then he was said, will you vote against them? And he said, no, he would vote yes. And his reasoning was strange because he said that it was the law and he couldn't vote against the law. So I just would like to point out to him, Regent Tillis, if it was the law, then you wouldn't even be gathering for a vote on the 16th because it would be said and done. You get to decide whether this becomes the law or not, sir. It is not a law yet, or you would not have the vote. So I urge you, you know the testing is wrong. You've come out on public record and said it's wrong, sir. Now vote your conscience and do what is right. So I'm going to leave this here for a moment so you can pause the video. There are all the at-large people, so you can pause the video, get there, do whatever you need to do. Take a picture, write down the information, and then there's Roger Tillis's in Nassau and Suffolk. I need to move over here so we don't run out of recording time. Over here, I'll keep this in focus for a little bit, and you can take your time to write that down. Again, if you're in Broome, Chemung, Shenango, Cortland, Delaware, Otsego, Schuyler, Tioga, Tompkins, then it's Talon, and there's his email and phone number he can be reached at. In Judicial District 1 down in New York, it's Charles Bendit. In District 8 in Richmond, it's Christine Sia. For Cayuga, Livingston, Monroe, Ontario, Seneca, Steuben, Wayne, and Yates counties, then you have to contact Andrew Brown. And for Albany, Columbia, Greene, Rensselaer, Schoharie, Sullivan, and Ulster, you need to talk to Regent Finn. I urge you to both email them and also phone them, call them. Here's the information. Share this video. And if you have extra time, call the people in blue. Tell them to stand their ground and that we support them. The bottom line is, if any three of these regencies in the black table will change their vote, then we can make this 50% idea of the governors go away. In other words, we can defeat the governor. The regents have that power. So please remind them who they work for. They represent the children, and they need to listen to the children's parents and the communities that the children live in. So again, please call all the at-large regents and contact them and tell them to vote no on the governor's proposals, that you do not want his proposals to become permanent. After you call the four at-large and contact them, please find on the chart your district and which regent is supposed to be representing you. And if you get a moment, I would urge you to call Regent Tillis down in Suffolk County and urge him and remind him that it is not a law yet. Thank you. Please get this out there. Please call your regent. Please be active. They vote on the 16th. Time is short, and this is a historic moment in New York State education. I'm John. This has been Off the Cuff.